A very good evening to everybody. As promised, every day I'm here at 10 o'clock with more tips on IELTS. Today's session is going to be based on listening, multiple choice questions, and this is in continuation with yesterday's lecture. Yesterday, I covered section 2 or part 2. Today, I'll be covering section 3 or part 3 of listening. Before 2022, they were called as sections. In 2022, they have been called as parts. So there's no what extent do you agree or disagree. That is the kind of essay which everybody has an issue with. So I am going to be talking about to what extent do you agree or disagree. But today, we'll be focusing on section number 3 or part number 3 of listening. For the newcomers who've just joined today, I'd just like to tell you that every day I have classes at 10 p.m. in the night. Come, join, take a lot of information, what I'm giving you. Every day I talk about some case studies or other. So it'll energize you. It'll give you a lot of ideas, lot of gyan on how to handle things. So part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4 are 4 parts in listening with 2 speakers in part 1, 1 speaker in part 2, 2 to 4 speakers in part 3, 1 speaker in part 4. There are 10 questions each in all the parts. The first 2 parts are very general in nature, where they talk about very general things, and the last 2 parts are academic in nature. Now, in the real exam, section number 2 and section number 3 are all multiple choice questions. Yesterday, we completed section number 2. Today, I'm going to cover section number 3 with you. Okay, I'll be covering 10 questions only. We'll be going at a very slow pace. Very, very coolly, we'll cover this, so you don't have to hush up things. I know that you all have to sleep after this, doesn't matter. Let's do it properly, and then you can sleep properly. Okay, now keep a paper and a pencil ready with you. And whenever I'm going to ask you a question, make it sure that you write down in the chat box the answer. It is extremely important so that I come to know you are understanding the lecture. Okay. So types of questions in listening. We have forms, notes, tables, flowcharts, summary completion, plans, maps, diagram labeling, matching, multiple choice questions. What we're focusing on today, sentence completion and short answer questions. So now the problems of multiple choice questions. All the choices will be spoken, guaranteed. Everything will be spoken. Next, paraphrase and synonyms are used. So if you try to find the keywords, and if you figure out that this is the keyword that I'm going to listen to that particular keyword, that is not going to be spoken. The synonym will be spoken or the paraphrasing will be done. Make it sure. Next, the time is too less. They are at a very fast speed. And now you will check in section number 3. It is maddening, absolutely maddening. And the answers are changed. First they speak A, then they go to B, then they go to C. They keep on changing the answers. Now, my tips are, tip number 1, don't check your answers from the previous section when you have a break. After every section, you have a break for 1 minute. Do not check the previous section answers. You've got 10 minutes in the end. Don't worry, we'll do it there. It is important that you read the multiple choice questions and understand them. So now, for example, section 2 is finished. Section 3 is going to start. Don't waste your time looking into section 2. Look into section 3. Try to read as many questions as possible. Mark the keywords. Highlight keywords. The keyword in the question will help you answer the question correctly. The keywords in the different options are those that differentiate meaning between the choices too. Don't write the first answer that you hear. That is a distractor. They are going to trick you, definitely. First, they'll speak the first one, then the second one, then the third one. If you write the first one only, you're definitely going to be penalized. Don't spend too much time on one question. If you don't get the answer, you are unsure, make a guess and move on. Don't waste your time. You know what happens suddenly? Suppose you are on question number 23. You are just waiting there. He'll speak now. He'll speak now. You are just waiting there only. With your pencil, you are waiting there. And he's talking about question number 25. So you haven't moved ahead. You were just waiting there and you wasted 3 questions. Not an intelligent thing. Make an educated guess, move on. Be careful of the words like but, however. They mean that the speaker is going to do something with the previous statements. However, for example, if I say, you can get an SOP, however, they are going to re-verify it from Grammarly. They are going to re-verify it for a plagiarism. Practice makes perfect. Very important thing. Your answers will be a letter, not a word. Do not write the word there. If you write the word, the answer is going to be marked wrong. Read the instructions carefully and make it sure that while transferring the answers in the end, you know what is being transferred. So in case you haven't followed us on social media, we are on webberzeducomplimited YouTube channel. We have a blog, Instagram, Facebook, Telegram, and a WhatsApp number. I'm going to be giving you a PDF file on the WhatsApp number. We have these campuses, Amritsar, Jalandhar, Ludhiana, Gurugram, Kapurthala, Taran, Batala, and Gurdaspur. Kapurthala is the new branch. In case you want very good attention there, just go there and join the branch. Very nice. I'm going to be covering part 3, Cambridge Book 17, test number 1. In case you do not have this book, I recommend you on this WhatsApp number, send a text message right now and you will get the book. And all you have to write in the text message is Cambridge Book 17 PDF. That's what you need to write down. Again, this book is not available in the market. It has not come in the market. We have got a Chinese version. So we are just giving it out because that is the latest thing that's going to come in the examination, the pattern, the new pattern. Okay, next is, now this is my question, okay? So 21 to 23, but he's going to speak till 26. Don't worry, that is on the next screen. I'll give you extra time to read it. Keep your pencils, keep your papers ready, and I am going to test my audio now. In case you hear my audio, please write down in the chat box that you are able to hear the audio. Okay? And we'll proceed ahead.
Part 3. You will hear two veterinary science students called Diana and Tim discussing their work placements and their course modules.
All right. So I have played this, and I want you to write down in the chat box if you are able to hear the audio. If you are able to hear the audio, please write down in the chat box you are able to hear the audio. Kindly write in the chat box. I'm waiting for the chat messages if you hear the audio. Be quick, please. Yes, sir. Thank you, Vishaka Gaur. You were able to hear the audio. Wonderful. So I am going to play now. So I'll be putting off my video and I'll just be speaking now. So I'm playing.
First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 26.
These questions are difficult because you see there are huge sentences below this. The choices are all sentences.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
So, Tim, we have to do a short summary of our work experience on a farm.
Right. My farm was great, but arranging the work experience was hard. One problem was it was miles away and I don't drive. And also, I'd really wanted a placement for a month, but I could only get one for 2 weeks.
I was lucky. The farmer let me stay on the farm, so I didn't have to travel. But finding the right sort of farm to apply to wasn't easy.
No, they don't seem to have websites, do they? I found mine through a friend of my mother's, but it wasn't easy.
No.
My farm was mostly livestock, especially sheep. I really enjoyed helping out with them. I was up most of one night helping a sheep deliver a lamb.
On your own?
No, the farmer was there, and he told me what to do. It wasn't a straightforward birth, but I managed. It was a great feeling to see the lamb stagger to its feet and start feeding almost straight away, and to know that it was okay. Then another time, a lamb had broken its leg, and they got the vet in to set it, and he talked me through what he was doing. That was really useful.
Yes, my farm had sheep too. The farm was in a valley and they had a lowland breed called Suffolks, although the farmer said they'd had other breeds in the past.
So were they bred for their meat?
Mostly, yes. They're quite big and solid.
My farm was up in the hills, and they had a different breed of sheep. They were Cheviots.
Oh, I heard their wool's really sought after.
Yeah.
Okay, so now till question number 23, we are done. And I want your answers now in the chat box. So let us look at the problem. The problem here is, the first problem is, what problem did both Diana and Tim have when arranging their work experience? Now, both, we have to find the problem for both. Now, you know what should be the first thing that you should be looking for? The voice of Diana. The voice. It's very important to differentiate the voices of Diana and Tim. Because, you know, all the questions will be voice-based. I'll tell you how. Here, Tim was pleased because they are talking about Tim here. And here, Diana says the sheep farm sheep on her farm. Okay, so this is very important for you to understand that what are they talking and who is talking? That is the answer. Now, I want you to write down the answers in the chat box. Write down the answers in the chat box. I'll give you time. Do not worry. I'm not going to rush up things. Be very slow. Write it down. Write it down. Write down the answers. Write like 21 this, 22 this, 23 this. Write in the chat box. I'm checking you out. Don't worry. Write down the answers. Okay, great. So now everybody can see everybody's answers. So let's go ahead and let us see the answers. What are the answers? Then we will do the analysis. The first is make initial contact with suitable farms. So both Diana and Tim had the same problem. 22, a sheep was having difficulty giving birth. 23, they were reared for their meat. Now, if you check out what actually happened here, so they were talking about feeding also. They were talking about broken leg also. Here, they were talking about quality wool as well. They were talking about different varieties also. Now, this is a trouble, a very, very big trouble. A very few people got it right. Now, let us hear this once again so that you can understand what is it. Now, there was a very difficult word used in question number 22. And the difficult word that was used here was staggering. Staggering. That word was used, staggering. You do know what is the meaning of staggering? Staggering means wobbly. Wobbly means unstable on the feet. So he was unstable on the feet, but he was not having trouble in feeding. The newly born lamb did not have a trouble in feeding. It was staggering on the feet. That feeding was fine, but staggering on the feet. So that becomes a wrong answer. Okay. So I'm going to play this again and we'll see what are the answers again. Okay. So let us see this once again. So we know what is it.
Part 3.
Summary of our work experience on a farm.
Right. My farm was great, but arranging the work experience was hard. One problem was it was miles away and I don't drive. And also, I'd really wanted a placement for a month, but I could only get one for 2 weeks.
I was lucky. The farmer let me stay on the farm, so I didn't have to travel. But finding the right sort of farm to apply to wasn't easy.
No, they don't seem to have websites, do they? I found mine through a friend of my mother's, but it wasn't easy.
No.
My farm was mostly livestock, especially sheep. I really enjoyed helping out with them. I was up most of one night helping a sheep deliver a lamb.
On your own?
No, the farmer was there, and he told me what to do. It wasn't a straightforward birth, but I managed. It was a great feeling to see the lamb stagger to its feet and start feeding almost straight away, and to know that it was okay. Then another time, a lamb had broken its leg, and they got the vet in to set it, and he talked me through what he was doing. That was really useful.
Yes, my farm had sheep too. The farm was in a valley and they had a lowland breed called Suffolks, although the farmer said they'd had other breeds in the past.
So were they bred for their meat?
Mostly, yes. They're quite big and solid.
My farm was up in the hills, and they had a different breed of sheep. They were Cheviots.
Oh, I heard their wool's really sought after.
Yeah.
Now, if you see, look at the style in which they talk, Here in question number 22, this is what the trick I'm teaching you. Let's start from 21. In 21, both Tim and Diana, the same problem they had was initial contact, making the initial first contact. They had no websites, they had no suitable contact, it was not advertised, so they had difficulty in finding a farm. So he said, I had to go through my mother's aunt or something. In question number 22, Tim was pleased to help. So in case the broken leg was there, he was not helping. The vet came over. In case of that feeding, there was no trouble in feeding. So they just wrote this trouble in feeding. So that is again disqualified. Here he said that it was having a difficult birth. The birth was tough. The delivery was tough. And here, Diana says the sheep on a farm were reared for the meat. They're very fat. They're reared for the meat. Now, Tim says his farm was on the hills. Now, we don't have to find Tim. We have to find Diana. That is important. So this is how the trick works. Who is talking? About what are they talking? That is how it works. So let's go to question number 24 to 26. So now I'm just going to play it directly, but first I want you to read it. Now, again, you see this, a problematic thing, a very problematic thing. Why is it problematic? 24, 25, 26, okay? Check question number 25. It's huge. ABC, the choices are also very huge. 25th, the choices are huge. 26th, the choices are huge. They are huge sentences. And damn it, the problem with the sentences is that we are unable to remember them. Even if you mark the keywords, you are unable to remember them. So mostly I tell my students to mark the keywords in the question. So whenever you feel the question has come, then keep on checking the choices. Otherwise you're not going to remember anything and your focus level is going to get destroyed. So work on different methodologies, try doing different, combinations and permutations so that one day you will come with a very perfect solution that this is the way I need to do. This is the way I need to work. Okay, so let's see the next one. Here we are, and I'm going to play this audio. But first I want you to read everything, whatever you can, in about 15 seconds. All right, so now I'm playing for 1 minute and 47 seconds.
Heard their wool's really sought after.
Yes, it's very hard wearing, and they use it for carpets.
Right.
I was interested in the amount of supplements they add to animals' feed nowadays. Like, even the chickens got extra vitamins and electrolytes in their feed.
Yes, I found that too. And they're not cheap. But my farmer said some are overpriced for what they are. And he didn't give them as a matter of routine, just at times when the chickens seemed to particularly require them.
Yes, mine said the same. He said certain breeds of chickens might need more supplements than the others, but the cheap and expensive ones are all basically the same. So, did your farm have any other livestock, Diana?
Yes, dairy cows. I made a really embarrassing mistake when I was working in the milk shed. Some cows had been treated with antibiotics, so their milk wasn't suitable for human consumption, and it had to be put in a separate container. But I got mixed up, and I poured some milk from the wrong cow in with the milk for humans, so the whole lot had to be thrown away. The farmer wasn't too happy with me.
I asked my farmer how much he depended on the vet to deal with health problems. I'd read reports that the livestock's health is being affected as farmers are under pressure to increase production. Well, he didn't agree with that, but he said that actually some of the stuff the vets do, like minor operations, he'd be quite capable of doing himself.
Yeah, my farmer said the same, but he reckons vet skills are still needed.
Okay, so we come to the end of question number 26. And now if you see, nothing was spoken. Exactly the same. So everything was paraphrased and everything was spoken in synonyms. So nothing was stable. Nothing was stable. So let's see the answers now. Before I check the answers, I want you to write down the answers in the chat box. 24th, 25th, and 26th. They are tough Do not worry if you get them all wrong. Just doesn't matter. Watch this video once again. Take the PDF file from me. Work it out, because this is what is going to come in the paper. The kind of questions that are going to come in the paper are these. So I want you to write down in the chat box your answers to question number 24, 25, and 26. All right. So now we have all the questions and people are writing down the answers too. So I'll show you the answers. The first is A, second is C, and the third is C. Before I go into it, I want you to analyze what happened. A lot of people are answering it wrong. Why? Let us see. Okay, so they should be given if specifically needed, especially needed. Now see the question. What did the students learn? That means both the students. What did they learn? What was common in both the students? They learned if specially needed. It is worth paying? Not exactly. The amount given at one time should be limited. They did not talk about that. They talked about in some other language, but both of them did not agree to it. The thing that they agreed to it was they should be given a specific times that they needed. Now the next one here. Let us see the problem here. Okay. Now the problem here is, in this one is very typical problem. She identified some cows incorrectly. This was not done. What happened when Diana was working with dairy cows? So, she said that the cows were being treated by antibiotics, which were not fit for human consumption. And there were some cows which had milk, which was fit for human consumption. So what she did, she mixed the milk. That means while storing the milk, she mixed both of them together. So the farmer was unhappy and they had to throw the whole storage because it was not fit for human consumption. So she made a mistake while storing the milk. She did not accidentally throw away the milk. They purposely threw away the milk. It was not accidental. They purposely threw it away. Now, what did both farmers mention about wets and farming? Again, remember, both farmers, that means whose farmers? One farmer is of Tim and one farmer is of Diana. So both the farmers, what did they mention about wets and farming? So we have to figure it out. Both said some jobs could be done by the farmer than by a wet. Some jobs could be done by a farmer than done by a wet. So this is important, very important. So let me play this again for you, so you are able to understand each and every word once again.
Heard their wool's really sought after.
Yes, it's very hard wearing, and they use it for carpets.
Right.
I was interested in the amount of supplements they add to animals' feed nowadays. Like, even the chickens got extra vitamins and electrolytes in their feed.
Yes, I found that too. And they're not cheap. But my farmer said some are overpriced for what they are. And he didn't give them as a matter of routine, just at times when the chickens seemed to particularly require them.
Yes, mine said the same. He said certain breeds of chickens might need more supplements than the others, but the cheap and expensive ones are all basically the same. So, did your farm have any other livestock, Diana?
Yes, dairy cows. I made a really embarrassing mistake when I was working in the milk shed. Some cows had been treated with antibiotics, so their milk wasn't suitable for human consumption, and it had to be put in a separate container. But I got mixed up, and I poured some milk from the wrong cow in with the milk for humans, so the whole lot had to be thrown away. The farmer wasn't too happy with me.
I asked my farmer how much he depended on the vet to deal with health problems. I'd read reports that the livestock's health is being affected as farmers are under pressure to increase production. Well, he didn't agree with that, but he said that actually some of the stuff the vets do, like minor operations, he'd be quite capable of doing himself.
Yeah, my farmer said the same, but he reckons vet skills are still needed.
Okay, so now you have seen what can go wrong. It is just paraphrasing that goes wrong. Paraphrasing means talking in a different sense. So you need to understand it, what's going on. That's very important. So now we come to the last part, 27 to 30. And what do we have to do here? So let us see. So on one side, you have been given opinions from A to F. Tim found this easier than expected. Tim thought that this was not very clearly organized. Diana may do some further study on this. They both found reading required for this was difficult. Tim was shocked at something he learned on this module. They were both surprised how little is known about some aspects of this. Now, what do we need to do? What opinions do the students give about each of the following modules on their veterinary science course? Now, modules on the veterinary science courses are, first is medical terminology. Medical terminology means the terms used in the medical. Diet and nutrition, animal disease, and wildlife medication. So if you see this section is not easy. It is based on a lot of medicine, okay? So do not worry, I'm going to play this.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 27 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 27 to 30.
Now we've got to give a bit of feedback about last term's modules. Just short comments, apparently. Shall we do that now?
OK, so medical terminology.
Well, my heart sank when I saw that, especially right at the beginning of the course, and I did struggle with it.
I thought it'd be hard, but actually I found it all quite straightforward. What did you think about diet and nutrition?
OK, I suppose.
Do you remember what they told us about pet food and the fact that there's such limited checking into whether or not it's contaminated? I mean, in comparison with the checks on food for humans, I thought that was terrible.
I think the module that really impressed me was the animal disease one, when we looked at domesticated animals in different parts of the world, like camels and water buffalo and alpaca. The economies of so many countries depend on these, but scientists don't know much about the diseases that affect them.
Yes. I thought they'd know a lot about ways of controlling and eradicating those diseases, but that's not the case at all. I loved the wildlife medication unit. Things like helping birds that have been caught in oil spills. That's something I hadn't thought about before.
Yeah, I thought I might write my dissertation on something connected with that.
Right. So, actually, I was thinking something along the same lines.
Okay. So now again, you know what happens in this? That your eyes have to keep on skipping because all the options are here. And when they're speaking this one, you don't know which one is there. So you have to look into everything. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's very, very fast. Your eyes will get shattered, you know, where to go, it literally pop out. So medical terminology, diet and nutrition, animal disease, wildlife medication. But the best thing is they speak up. What do you think about medical terminology? What about diet and nutrition? What about animal disease? What about wildlife medication? So they have these markers, typical markers, where they tell you they're going to speak about this particular thing. Okay, so which is quite helpful. So I'll check out the answers and we'll do an analysis then. Let's check the answers now. Medical terminology, A. Tim found it easier than expected. Diet and nutrition, E. Tim was shocked at something he learned on this module. Animal disease, F. They both were surprised how little is known about some aspects of this. And 30th, wildlife medication. Dinah may do some further study on this. So she says, I'm going to further look into it. So that is what the answers are. Okay, so let us listen to it once again.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 27 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 27 to 30.
Now we've got to give a bit of feedback about last term's modules. Just short comments, apparently. Shall we do that now?
OK, so medical terminology.
Well, my heart sank when I saw that, especially right at the beginning of the course, and I did struggle with it.
I thought it'd be hard, but actually I found it all quite straightforward. What did you think about diet and nutrition?
OK, I suppose.
Do you remember what they told us about pet food and the fact that there's such limited checking into whether or not it's contaminated? I mean, in comparison with the checks on food for humans, I thought that was terrible.
I think the module that really impressed me was the animal disease one, when we looked at domesticated animals in different parts of the world, like camels and water buffalo and alpaca. The economies of so many countries depend on these, but scientists don't know much about the diseases that affect them.
Yes. I thought they'd know a lot about ways of controlling and eradicating those diseases, but that's not the case at all. I loved the wildlife medication unit. Things like helping birds that have been caught in oil spills. That's something I hadn't thought about before.
Yeah, I thought I might write my dissertation on something connected with that.
Right. So, actually, I was thinking something along the same lines.
So now, what you see here is total a shock that they don't speak anything, but, they use a lot of but, however. I told you in the beginning only, but, however, is going to be used. So be very careful about these words. Let's see the first one, A. Tim found this easier than expected. He says, but I did not find it that hard. Easier than expected. C. Diana says, I want to write my dissertation. Dissertation means an essay, my research work essay. May do some further study on this, dissertation on the essay. Tim was shocked. Shocked means it was unexpected. I was surprised that he learned on this module. F. They were both surprised and so much little is known about it. Like that they're talking, that expressions that they're talking. So basically you have to read everything, and it's the work of understanding. Practice, practice, practice. That's what I keep telling everyone, every time, all the time. That is the most important thing. So now these are the answers, and I want you to write down the total number of answers that you got correct in this. Maybe if you got 0 correct, write down 0. It doesn't matter. Just doesn't matter. These are all the 10 answers that I did with you, 10 questions that I did with you, and these are the answers. Please write down whatever you got right. But I'm seeing a lot of people got a lot of them right, but some people did not get it too. Write down out of 10, whatever you got. So suppose if you got, say, 5 on 10, so you write down 5/10. So I can come to know you got 5 correct. If you got, say, 9 on 10, write down 9/10. Just doesn't matter. Be honest, be blatant about it. Write it down. Write it down, whatever you got. Whatever you got right, just write down how many answers you got right. Ruby, I'm very impressed by you. Very good. Even a score of 5 is great. I'm telling you, these are very difficult questions, very difficult ones. Please write down more. Whatever answers you got, write them down. Whatever the number of your correct answers are. Shubham Sharma got 4. Okay, Shubham, great. Shubham, just listen to this once again, and I request you to take the full copy of PDF from me so that you can practice at home, and you can do all the tests of this, because that is the kind of level that's going to come in the exam now. Please write down in the chat box whatever you got right. Vikas Atrish got 6 on 10. Very nice, Vikas. Write down whatever you got right. Write down whatever you got right. Okay, so now, if you want, so please follow us on social media. I've just talked about it before also. And we have these campuses. Kapurthala is coming up with huge number of schemes. That will be great for you. If you want a PDF of this whole thing, please WhatsApp on this number. You'll get the PDF, Cambridge Book 17. All you need to write down is one small message called as Cambridge Book 17 PDF. and just send it to this number. Note down this number and send it to this number. That will be extremely helpful for you. And I'm going to be teaching from this book. I'm just going to complete this book only in my series of everyday lectures, because I know that this is what is going to come, and that's going to be very helpful for you. So let's proceed further. So with this, we come to the end. And Shiny Grover got a good score. That is 7 on 10. That's wonderful. Okay. So let me just rewind what I did today. So we started with social media, talking about social media, and we did a case study on writing SOP for MBA. If you haven't seen it, I would request you to rewind the video and see it. And why the cases get refused. What was the problem with the case? So that is what I'm going to teach you, one small aspect of the cases every day. Tomorrow's class is going to be based on PTE at 8 p.m. on reordered paragraphs. And at 10 p.m., I'm going to talk about to what extent do you agree or disagree. That essay I'm going to talk about. Then we talked about the format of listening, the types of questions in listening. Then we talked about multiple choice questions and the problems people face with them, the tips and strategies, what you should be using for multiple choice questions. Again, we talked about a social media, and then we started with the test. And I requested you, in case you want a PDF, you can just call this number or message this number and tell them to send you a PDF. We did this section, we did the answers, proper analysis. Then again, we did this section. Again, we did the analysis. And the last, we did these 4 questions, which were very tough. And we did the analysis too. So with this, we come to the end of our session today. And I hope that you enjoyed the session. If you enjoyed the session and you learned something new, please write down in the chat box. You know, it gives me a loop feedback that I should be preparing more sections like this. Again, I'm taking these sections in English because I feel that that is how you will pick up. I can obviously take the session in Hindi and Punjabi, Marathi also, Gujarati also. I know these languages, but again, I want it to be in English because your pickup in English will definitely improve. And if you've noticed one thing, I keep on, giving a lot of good vocabulary words to you while talking. That is very helpful. So I always suggest, if you want to do IELTS, always do it in English. That's always the best thing to do. With this, we come to the end of our series today. Thank you so much. See you at 10 o'clock in the evening tomorrow for an essay called To What Extent Do You Agree or Disagree?